Oh, it's always so much fun.
Let's see. Oh, you there? Okay. We should be live.
Okay.
Um,
Can I have a link to the pop-out chat?
you
I'm
can.
just going to be needy today.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I'll put it over here.
Thanks.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. We get to hang out IRL a couple of days ago.
Yes. And I had Canadian food and you had American food.
Yeah. As I was saying, we were hanging out, and you're like, I want to go to this really cool place because they've got poutine. Go, great.
Well, I wanted poutine and
Yeah,
I knew that
I
they had
know.
great other food.
You know where we can get poutine here?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And I mean,
Yeah.
like, you want it from McDonald's? No problem. Have some poutine from McDonald's. Oh, yes.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I know. Poutine everywhere. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I was hoping for some kind of really exotic, San Franciscan 7 kinds of poutine place, but they just had the one. So
To me, it was exciting.
Philip Philberthus is wants me to try and say his name again, and I just did. And that's how I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun to hang out. And we did all these cool stuff with Twitch, which was great, and expect more Twitch stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to be on the CosmoQuest channel Sunday afternoon going through all of our stuff, and I'll be setting up times to do office hours for Astronomy Cast people. So yeah, everyone check out all of our stuff.
We're just another place
goodness.
to create more media and content. It's funny. This is one of the things we were talking about was just this idea that back a couple of years ago, we felt like we were doing too much content. And now when I talk to Twitch streamers and they're streaming for 12 hours a day, clearly there is no too much, right? Like they could just go and go, it's crazy. So anyway, I think we'll be exploring that whole other venue.
And I have to say, kudos to you for the flights you took today. So if we're not at 100% today, it's because I decided I needed to get poison ivy, and I'm sitting here trying to convince myself not to tear off all the skin on my arms and legs.
Don't do it.
And if he's slightly out of it, it's because you got up at like 4 a.m., didn't you?
Yeah. I had to fly back. I caught my 6:30 flight out of San Francisco. But that was great because it got me back in time for the show. So,
and I got in at 1 a.m. last night, so I could get home for the show. So clearly, we put you guys ahead of our well-being.
All right, I'm gonna say hi to a bunch of people, and I'm gonna say hi to ANYC, Alex Despland, Arnold Post, Baruch Klankar, Brian Stab, Carolyn B, Catelyn Bontia, Chirag Kahar, Ilad Avron, Giselle Sabarin, Graham Taylor, Guido Bibra, Harry Patrick, High Champ 1, Ignatiy Rumanov Cherengovsky, Jason 93609, John Siffel, Johnny Zed, Matt Minter, Max Sixblade, Michael Meyer, Mike Dennison, Nancy Graziano, Noel Reppenthal, Patrick Sullivan, Paul Gracie, Peter Quinn, Philip Philberthus. How's that, Philip? Rinstro, Silan Atele, Sylvan Westby, Thomas Traniker, and Zapvan. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Astronomy Cast. Actually, they're always a very special episode. That's the thing that I say. But this is kind of this is going to be good. I'm pretty excited about today's topic. I think this was a suggestion from a fan a couple of weeks ago, right? Yeah. So we are on board with this topic. This is going to be really good.
And as a heads up, we'll be going on hiatus officially on June 16th, but with the run up for the eclipse, I suspect that there's going to be a lot of content randomly getting dropped in that's not necessarily full length Astronomy Cast episodes, but are, oh my God, have you seen? Let's all try. And are you ready? Kind of prep for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
eclipse.
And I think for our live event, we'll probably do I'm sure going to do some live shows, and we'll try and, for those of you who couldn't join us, we'll try and put a bunch of that content out so you guys can get a chance to listen to it. All right, let us begin. We'll do the show, and then when we're done, we will stick around, answer your questions about space and astronomy.
Sounds good.
All right. I'm going to press record.
I have also pressed record, and it is recording. Hello, Chad.
Hello, Chad. All right. Here we go. Buckle up. Astronomy Cast, episode 448, Prepping for the Great U.S. Eclipse. Welcome to Astronomy Cast, our weekly fact-based journey through the cosmos, where we help you understand not only what we know, but how we know what we know. My name is Fraser Cain. I'm the publisher of Universe Today. With me is Dr. Pamela Gay, the Director of Technology and Citizen Science at the Astronomical Society of the Pacific, and the Director of CosmoQuest. Hey, Pamela, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Fraser?
Great. So once again, just another reminder, we've set up our Patreon campaign. Thank you, everybody who has joined. Go to patreon.com/astronomycast. The money goes directly to pay the salaries of the people involved on Astronomy Cast, such as Chad and Susie, who we couldn't do this without them. Big thanks to Paul Skuse, Brian Kilby, David Power, and Joe Green for the new patrons joining us this week. We can't begin to tell you how much we appreciate your support. Any administrivia to go, or should we get cracking on the show?
I think life is good.
All right.
Everyone just stay involved and keep looking up for the sun, because it's going to disappear.
Here we go. On Monday, August 21st, 2017, there's going to be a total eclipse of the sun, visible to many in the United States. You should be making plans to see this, and we're here to help you know where to go and what to do. All right, this is going to be really, really cool. And we've been, if you've been listening to the show, I hope, we have been prepping you for the fact that we're going to be having this eclipse for years now. But we are getting close. And we wanted to just put everything together for you in one package so that you can just make sure you've got everything thought through that you're going to do on how to get the most out of this experience. So before we get into that, Pamela, and let's do the micro version of what's an eclipse?
So there are two kinds of eclipses. One is when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, blocking the sun out. This is called a solar eclipse. And the other is when the Earth passes between the moon and the sun, and that's called a lunar eclipse. And as coined by Katie Mack, if by any chance the sun ever ends up between the Earth and the moon, that's an apocalypse.
Right. I love that. I love that cartoon that she did. Right. Okay. So in this case, we are going to get the moon is going to pass in front of the sun, steal the sun from us, and but then bring it back.
It's true.
And the pathway that you can see this happens in very specific places on Earth.
So if you think about it, you often have to walk around in order to find yourself with a perfect alignment of the tree in front of a sun, or lining two people up for a photo that are in the foreground and background. You have to move around to get a specific alignment between three different objects. And the moon is fairly far away, and its shadow on the surface of the planet is awful tiny. And so there's only going to be a narrow, ever-changing circle of darkness that passes across the planet as the planet rotates and the moon moves and the Earth orbits. And you have to be in that one narrow path in order for the moon to precisely block out the sun.
And now I've seen solar eclipses in the past, but I've always seen partial solar eclipses. So so when you're not on that path, but if you're still on the day side and within a certain point, then you can see the moon take a chunk out of the sun. But that is lame compared to when the moon actually passes right in front of the sun.
Yes.
Everyone who has seen this considers it to be like a transcendental event where they become one with the cosmos for a few brief moments, and just for that 1 second really appreciate and understand the very fabric of the cosmos.
Or for the 2 minutes.
Or for the 2 minutes, yeah. For those two brief moments, you are the cosmos, and the cosmos is you.
This is what I keep hearing.
That's what I keep hearing too. I haven't seen one yet. You haven't seen a total solar eclipse yet, right?
No, I've been rained on twice.
Oh. You were on a ship one time, weren't you?
I was.
You chased one with a boat.
I did, and we failed. The clouds moved faster than the boat did.
That is sad.
Yes, yeah. But we had it was fabulous human beings. We had a wonderful time. We got to see glow-in-the-dark algae at night that evening, bioluminescence. And while bioluminescent algae isn't as exciting as a complete solar eclipse, at least we had that element of science.
That just sounds like you're just telling yourself stories to make you feel better, when the reality is the whole point of your trip to see this. Again, like I said, for a moment there, you could have been one with the cosmos, but you weren't. So this is it, though. We've called back the sun for repeat performance, and the moon, and they're going to put on this show. Now this one, they call it the Great American Eclipse. I take exception as a Canadian. We are in North America. We are also Americans.
It's in your, and you can see it. So the reason it's called the Great American Eclipse.
So what about the South Americans?
Okay, so they should have put a north in front of it.
The Great North American Eclipse. Fine. The Great U.S. Eclipse. I'm going to call it the Great U.S. Eclipse.
They estimate that 500 million people will be able to see full or totality. This includes everyone in the continental United States, folks in northern Mexico, and folks in southern Canada.
Yeah.
So 500 million people in North America. They left off the north. Great American Eclipse.
Yeah. But specifically, that path, that 20-ish kilometer wide path, where is that going to go?
It starts in Oregon, it crosses in Oregon, and then it moves west to east across the United States and exits through South Carolina. I kind of think of this as like the music lovers eclipse, because there's so much awesome music to pick from when figuring out where you want to go. We have it south side of St. Louis, can see totality. Nashville is on the line. There's so much music along the way. But yeah, it goes across the entirety of the continental United States. And it turns out that pretty much everyone who lives in the continental United States and parts of Canada is within like a 6-hour drive if they're near a highway. Now, if you're not near a highway, that time could get much longer. But there's going to be a mass movement of humans towards the path of totality, we estimate. And this is why we are having this episode, to warn you now.
Yes.
It is time to begin prepping.
Yes. And to sort of know what you're in for here, and what we think is your best bet. The problem, as you experienced, is that clouds can be a problem for eclipses. Now, August 21st, you couldn't hope for a more sunny day. I mean, anytime in July and August across the continental United States, your chances of having nice, clear skies for the duration of this eclipse are high.
Yes, and it's not in the late afternoon for the thunderstorm corridor I live in. So for instance, where we're going to be, somewhere within a 4 hour drive of St. Louis, uh, you often get late afternoon thunderstorms. But this will be over, and we'll be driving home in any late afternoon thunderstorms. So that's
It's going
fine.
to be in the morning for St. Louis.
It's noonish.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, yeah. So then let's sort of talk about what you can do. What would be your recommendation for getting the most out of this?
So honestly, as someone who sits on several national task force, listening to all the concerns that are coming up, this event is something where we have the Department of Transportation in on the conversation, Homeland Security in on the conversation, pretty much every regional's medical folks, and the reason for all of this is there is concern that with all of America trying to Snapchat, Instagram, tweet, Facebook their experience, the internet is going to come to a grinding halt. Beyond that, with so many people trying to drive with last minute, well, it's a Monday. I'll take Monday off work and drive home after the event. The highway system is going to come to a grinding halt because it's also construction season here in the United States. And and so, what I would say is leave Friday, figure out where you're going to be, take your bicycle, and be prepared to do some biking to get to a better location if you need to.
Hmm.
Were I not going to be with two busloads of awesome human beings who I love dearly, which is why I'm doing this,
Yes.
uh, I would be on my bike on the bike trails that run all along the Mississippi, because it's not that hard to adjust your position by 20 or 40 miles on a bike. Um, so, yeah, we're going to be on buses instead. This
Yes.
means that we're going to be taking off super early in the morning, trying to get out ahead of all of the people making last minute decisions.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that from what I've heard, a lot of the places to stay very close to the eclipse path now are essentially sold out.
Yeah.
But you can get within striking distance of the eclipse path within, say, 3-4 hours if you want to stay somewhere that's relatively nearby, and then just drive and then sort of keep your eye on the weather and then head out early in the morning on the time of the eclipse and try to cross paths with a place where it's going to be good.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
an excellent plan. Now the catch is when you're figuring out where you want to be, you have conflicting motivations. On one hand, it's summer, and summer means hot, miserable, sticky. You don't want to be in the sun,
Yeah.
except it's a solar eclipse, so you want to be in the sun. So you want to find some place where at the time that you're seeing the eclipse, which is going to vary for everyone, it's going to be fairly early in the morning for the people in Oregon, depending on your definition of morning. It's going to be late in the afternoon for folks in South Carolina, lunchtime for those of us here in the middle of America. And so you're going to want to make sure you know ahead of time where in the sky is the sun going to be during totality. And go download Stellarium or Skywalk or any of these amazing pieces of software that's out there and just figure that out ahead of time. You can set the date, look it all up. It's super easy and will save you a ton of pain later, because like one of the places that I was checking out for some photography, I had the realization the exact place where I was standing lined me exactly up with having a flag in front of totality. Now, admittedly, I could move 5 feet in any direction and fix that problem, but still, it was one of those moments of, this is a uniquely bad position.
What part of the country would you, if you had your choices, where would you probably go?
Oh man, so I'm a photo junkie, kind of like you are, and I have to admit I would probably be going to one of the national parks, being somewhere up Colorado, Wyoming, Oregon, one of these
Yeah.
gorgeous, gorgeous places, and just enjoying it with strange, awesome big animals who might be behaving strangely.
Right. But a place like say Eastern Oregon is probably going to have the best weather. Those parts will probably be more deserty, more dry, more sunny, but also
And filled with the most people.
and
If you're
filled
an
with the most
introvert,
people.
don't
Yeah.
go there if you're an
Yeah.
introvert.
And but also hot, and so you need to be prepared. I mean, as you said, this is the summertime, so you need to go with water, you need to go with the supplies, and you could anticipate getting stuck in a traffic jam because you're
Yeah,
going to have literally all of the United States rush to this little line, and then for 2 minutes, and then all of the United States rush back off that little line. And both of those are going to be a problem. And so, just to be safe, I would say on the inbound side, give yourself a lot of time to get into some kind of position. Now, the good news is you only have to be there for 2 minutes. So you don't have to go and find a campsite and set up and all that kind of stuff. You literally just have to find a parking lot or the side of the road or whatever you can do to get yourself in position. You don't need to really, set up, but I would give yourself more time on the getting out to position part, and to give yourself some flexibility to be able to adjust your plans as the weather becomes its reality.
and to be fair to the entire experience, between the moon starting to block out the sun and the moon completely unblocking the sun, you're looking at a couple of hours. Now, most people, after they see totality, they're done. I'm
Yeah.
out.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta beat the rush.
exactly. But give yourself a chance to enjoy it, first of all. So don't get there 5 minutes before totality. Everyone will have already gotten the good spot. Um, and let yourself enjoy that whole process of the moon eating the sun. It's kind of cool.
How
At
long does
least
that
this
part
is what I'm
take?
told. It takes about an hour.
Right. So the show really begins about an hour early. Then you've got totality, which is 2 minutes, and then you've got another hour of the sun releasing the moon releasing the sun again.
And what's awesome is there are lots of places that you can go to find out exactly where you are. What are the times I need to worry about?
Yeah.
So for instance, on eclipse.gsfc.nasa.gov, they have links to a Google map. And I love the Google map that they link to, because the Google map lets you figure out what time does totality start, what time does it end, and get all this information completely right for your location. Another site that's really good to go to is greatamericaneclipse.com. This is a commercial website, but it is awesome, and most of their really cool content is available entirely for free.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of entirely for free. And there's also an app that they've put together for the Great American Eclipse that gives you even more information on the path. And what they're hoping is by the time of totality, they'll also be able to give you highway information, so you know if the point you're planning to go to has bad traffic, yeah, we're going to be putting all of that information up. I can tell you right now, most of the highways are green and yellow. So if you leave today, the roads are good. Don't wait until the highways are all red. You might hate yourself.
Yeah. I'm just, for the people watching the show live, I'm playing the eclipse path as a really cool animation that's done on Google Maps. Now let's talk about getting the most out of the experience. So let's say you're organized, you get there early, you've got lots of water, food, you're ready to go. What other safety equipment should you bring with you? Because this is going to be a solar eclipse. These can be dangerous.
Yeah, so do not go looking at the sun before the moon is completely blocking it. You can do harm to your eyes. A quick glance won't destroy your eyes, but it will give you like the green flashes of big sun splotch blocking out what you're trying to look at. So a mistake I have personally made many times is practicing with my eclipse glasses, because you can use eclipse glasses to look at sunspots, where I'll glance over to see if there's clouds in front of the sun and blind myself in the process. Do not be me. So practice with your solar glasses ahead of time. Practice putting them on, looking at the sun without blinding yourself with the sun first. If you're not skilled with eclipse glasses, as clearly I am not skilled, work on doing something else that allows you to enjoy the experience. You can build a sun funnel. We have instructions of that from the Venus transit a few years ago, and we'll be doing some of these in the quick links I'm going to pop up over the following weeks.
You can buy, and relatively inexpensively, you can pick up binoculars, solar binoculars. I know you can buy a pair of solar binoculars. They're like around $30. Look them up on Amazon. If you are, I would get them sooner than later. And they're great for just looking at the sun in general if you want to be able to see sunspots and things like that. So it's definitely worth having a pair of those already. If you want to go fancier than that, there's like the solar telescopes by Coronado makes one, and there's a few of them. And then you can actually see the sun up close, and some of them are in like different filters. You can actually see like a hydrogen alpha filter of the sun while the moon is passing in front, and those are they're just a party even when there's not an eclipse. They're a lot of fun to use.
But a lot of you are going to have kids, and kids are just not. Don't let a kid try and look through binoculars, like little kid look through binoculars at the sun, because they're going to make my kind of mistake and look with their eyeballs too.
No, you want special binoculars, yeah.
So beyond that, just project it. There's what are called pinhole viewers. It turns out that if you poke a pin through something like an index card, or a big piece of cardboard, actually works a whole lot better. Pizza boxes are awesome for this. That hole, you can cast the sun through it and make a projection of the sun. And you don't have to wait for the eclipse to do this. Do it now. Enjoy some sunspots. Get some practice doing this.
And that's exactly what I really recommend, right? Is get some practice. That the sun, unless you live here on the west coast of Vancouver Island, the sun is up and you can practice. You can see sunspots. You can go out and find it with proper safety equipment, with eclipse glasses. I think, was it number 14 welder's glass? It does the same thing, or one of these fancier solar telescopes, one that's got the solar filters on it. But the thing you absolutely must not do is look at the sun very long with your unaided eye, which, that hurts, and so you don't do it very long. But the one that's the real killer is a person will take a pair of binoculars or telescope, they'll point it at the sun for just a moment, and it will destroy your eyes. Like the magnified light of the sun going into your eyes through a pair of binoculars or a telescope can blind you permanently, literally instantaneously. So you've got to make sure. It can also
set fire to things. So be careful.
Sure. Set fire to your eyes. So the point here is you've got to make sure that you've got the right safety equipment, and this is the kind of thing that you're going to want to practice, and you're going to want to have your kids practice as well beforehand to make sure that when the actual event happens, you all know which piece of gear to use, and you all know where to look and how to look to be safe as it's unfolding. Don't try to sort of explain it to everybody and in advance.
And the other mistake a lot of people are going to make, and this is the same mistake they make with rocket launches, is they're going to be so focused on trying to get the perfect picture that they forget to enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
It is completely fine to take pictures, but make sure your camera can just do it without you.
Yeah.
So set up your camera on a tripod, and if it can't be programmed to have the shutter go off on its own, do like I do and get a remote. So you're sitting there and you're like, that looks cool, click, but you don't stop looking through your eclipse viewer. You don't stop enjoying the movement. And don't forget, you can also destroy your camera if you're not careful during an eclipse.
I have destroyed a telescope.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Don't do that.
No, don't do that. So I was doing a projection. So one of the things you can do, like with a pair of binoculars, if you don't look at it, is you can do a projection where you hold the binoculars, and then the binoculars focuses the light and creates a spot on the ground, and that's or on a white sheet, and that is the and that's the shape of the sun. You can actually see the chomp go out of it, and you can even see sunspots and stuff. But if you leave it for too long in that direction, it heats up the optics inside, and heats up the glass, and heats up the glue, and sort of ruins the capability of it. So it's okay to do it very quickly, but you're going to want a better solution. So I guess what we're saying is take the time, figure out the gear you're going to want to be able to get a nice view of it, practice safely with the sun. It's going to, every day.
The sun's from here until
practice.
August.
You've got lots of time. Everyone on your expedition should be ready to go. And I think your advice about taking pictures versus seeing is really important. I think the advice I've heard from many people is that if this is your first eclipse, your first total solar eclipse, don't do anything but just try to enjoy it. Just take it in and appreciate the moment. Don't try to capture it. That's what the veterans do. Number 2, number 3, number 4, when you get the bug and you're chasing eclipses around the world, then by all means take the pictures and do it. But for that first time, just take it in and don't try to capture it and be a hero.
And remember, sunscreen, 24 hours worth of water, 24 hours worth of food, because you may not need them, but you may need to bail out the poor schmo down the sidewalk from you who's sitting there dehydrating. So be prepared to take care of others as well.
And now let's say that you have, maybe you've already seen an eclipse and you want to participate with your camera or maybe some other science. There's a really great project that's going to be going on during the eclipse, right?
The mega movie.
Yeah, the mega movie. So you can do a Google search for Eclipse Mega Movie, and this is being organized, I think, with Google and the Astronomical Society of the Pacific, right?
And it's out of University of California, Berkeley's Center for Astronomy Education group with Laura Petikalis.
And the plan is that they're going to combine the images, the pictures and video from astronomers across the entire eclipse path.
Photographers, not astronomers. Anyone with a camera can participate.
Well, you need to sign up and register the gear that you have, and let them know what kind of a camera you've got and what kind of a lens you've got, and then they'll let you know if it's up to spec, and then they'll send you information on how to participate in creating the mega movie. So that is going to be, if you do want to be a hero and you do want to take some pictures, this is a great project to get involved in.
And what is not recognized nearly enough is we can't generally study the sun's corona real well except during eclipses, because when we try and observe it from space, we put a big old blocker in front of the disk of the sun, and it blocks out the corona closest to the sun, and we do that to protect our telescopes. But that means we can't study what the corona is doing right next to the sun. And so we have to try and do this during the eclipse. And Mega Movie is one project that's working on that. But mostly what Mega Movie is also doing is there's this effect called the diamond ring, where as the sun passes behind the moon, there are peaks and valleys on the surface of the moon that cause the sun to be imprecisely blocked as it's going towards being completely behind the moon. And that incomplete blockage causes bright flares of light. And I mean this in terms of lens flare, J.J. Abrams style, not coronal mass ejection flare. But these what look like diamond flashes. And we can learn about the surface structure of the moon this way. Now, beyond that, there's, which Mega Movie's doing, there's also Project Kate, which is a NASA-funded project. I think they're also getting funding from some corporate sponsors, and they're going to be out there with telescopes spread across America documenting the corona.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's such a wonderful concept that you can actually see the mountains on the moon because you're seeing the little gaps of the sun peeking through the valleys in between. I love that idea. Cool. So, and if you miss this one, there's going to be another one in 2024?
2024, and it's not too far from here. So yeah, we'll be making plans yet again.
The second great North America eclipse, which is
This one's going south to north, so it's a different route.
yeah. Perfect. Well, we are, of course, going to be watching it live. We really encourage you, if you haven't already, make plans, find some friends, organize a road trip, see what you can do to get out there, take all the precautions, practice as we are telling you to make sure that you are able to view this eclipse safely and really have one of the most, I think, I'm a little hyperbolic, but this is going to be one of those moments when you are truly one with the cosmos. And for a brief moment, you will just understand everything. And then the sun will reappear and you'll forget everything again.
There should have been a solar eclipse the day I defended my dissertation. Would have been easier.
That exact moment, you would have understood for one brief moment.
Everything.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks, Pamela. And I'm so excited. I can't wait. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you later.
Noel Ruppenthal says the 2024 eclipse is going to cross his house.
That's awesome.
That is amazing. So that was 4:48.
Okay. Sorry, everyone who's out on audio and can't even just see us sitting here staring at our computers while we save. You'll have our full attention again in a moment.
Okay. Just going to make sure the upload. Chad can get access to his gear. Oh, wow. Ottawa is right in the middle of the eclipse. That's cool for the 2024 one. I've got some friends in Ottawa, so maybe that's where we'll go for the 2024 one.
We'll have to see how long the eclipse is at different places on the path.
Yeah. Elon says that Noel's going to be hosting the 2024 one, which is perfect.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Well, come on, everybody. Send in your questions. And the hard ones, please. I want to give Pamela real zingers.
While I'm sitting here yawning from the Benadryl I took from my poison ivy.
So sleepy.
It's poison. Don't get poison ivy ever. You will turn into a zombie and be miserable.
We don't have it. We don't have it here. No, we have no poison ivy, nor poison oak. Nor.
Do you have poison sumac?
Nope. We have no poison. The one thing that we do have is stinging nettle, but it doesn't hold a candle to the poisons. So.
No, it really, really doesn't.
Galaxia wants to know what channel on Twitch did I commentate on Cosmos? On my channel, on Cain. So FCAIN. And I think I know what I'm going to do for Twitch to start out with, which is I'm going to do a marathon, not a marathon exactly, of all our Guide to Space episodes. So I'm going to start at episode number 1. It's terrible. And I just am so embarrassed to show it. But I'll do that and probably do like 3 episodes over the course of an hour and sort of just talk about the episode, answer people's questions, and then maybe do that once a week for a year.
That is cool.
Yeah. All right. Quickie Koala wants to know, what space event would Fraser or Pamela like to see if they could be safely there to witness it?
Like standard observational thing?
No,
I
like
think
anything crazy happening in the universe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would love to see a supernova going off while protected in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Like close enough to enjoy the entire flashbang boom of it all, but not going to die in the shockwave or from the gamma rays.
Yep.
Or the X-rays or any of the other rays.
Yeah, rays or particles. Yeah, Galaxy, it's twitch.tv/fcain. Now, it might be gone. Like, they might have removed the Cosmos Marathon. That was sort of the whole point of the marathon, was to do it live. So, and there's no way I am going to take that copyright material and put it on my YouTube channel. So if Twitch archived it, then it's there, and if it's not, then it's gone. What would I want to see? I would like to see something crossing the Roche limit and getting torn apart, I
That
think.
would be slow.
Well, I would like to see two neutron stars collide, but same thing.
That's
From
fast.
your TARDIS would be nice. Yeah, I would like to see a sort of T-Tauri star. Like, how long does it take for, like, when a star is forming? How long does it take to kind of turn on? Like, does it take hundreds of thousands of
We think
years,
yeah,
tens
we
of
think
thousands of
so.
years? Yeah,
Yeah, but there's this moment when a star blows off enough of the surrounding gas that it suddenly shines through, and um, that is a fairly fast process. And to be far enough away from a star forming region to appreciate the nebulosity and catch that moment in time, that would be pretty cool.
yeah. Quickie Koala Alt wants to know, I'd like to see the Big Bang if possible to see where it all started. The problem is that the Big Bang
It's
happened everywhere,
opaque.
right? So where it all started
Yeah.
was everywhere.
And it's opaque.
Yes. Well, for the first 380,000 years anyway.
And then it's dark. The first stars turning on, that would have been a fairly cool period.
Yeah. I mean, that's still really an unanswered question, which is, were those first stars a mere 200 times the mass of the sun? Could they have been 500, 10,000? Like, we just don't
We
know
don't know.
what the
Yeah.
limits were of those first stars, and that would be amazing. Oh, that's cool. So Galaxy is saying that in 2 hours, Andrienne is going to be on Twitch live, which is
Oh,
very
cool.
cool. Yeah. So she's sort of helping wrap up the second Cosmos Marathon, and she's going to answer a bunch of questions. That is, of course, the widow of Carl Sagan
Yeah.
and the co-writer of the original Cosmos, as well as one of the co-writers for the new Cosmos. With that other guy, what's his name?
Not sure.
Neil something or other. Anyway,
Yeah, I can't remember it ever.
let's see. Nicholas B would like to see a star go nova when a black hole it's orbiting sucks away enough mass from it, and then being eclipsed by the event horizon. That would be cool. Eli Everyone is saying that the U.S. Postal Service is issuing special eclipse stamps. I knew about that.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
quite cool. They just came out.
Let's see. Yeah, and Steven Soder was the other co-writer. That's right. Yeah. Susie would like to see something spaghettified, but not have that happen to me. Arjun wants to know, what do we not know about the sun that we need more information on?
How the heck the corona ends up hotter than the surface of the sun beneath it? What causes sunspots to be where they are and how they are and evolve the way they do? Convection. We do not understand convection real well. Can I stop now? There's a whole lot.
Sure.
There's a
Formation,
whole lot.
early stages. Yeah.
All of the internal oscillations.
Yeah.
There's a ton of oscillation modes.
Jason 93609 wants to know a quick rundown of amateur astronomy events you will be participating in the future. Are they all and around the U.S. and Canada?
You know, right now there actually aren't any on my calendar, which is a hint to all of you. I'm open to invitations.
She's
I'm
open to
pretty sure Fraser is
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will be at the National Space Society meeting in St. Louis Memorial Day weekend,
Yep.
which is focused on commercial space this year. Yeah, that's it.
I am, let's see. I might be going. There's something in the works to go to Radium Hot Springs, maybe to
That would be cool.
participate in some astronomy stuff. Of course, I'm going to be going with Dr. Paul Matt Sutter in February to Iceland to see the auroras, which is going to be fun. And I think that the thing we're trying to do, what I would like to do, of course, we've got the eclipse event, is try to do more of these events and try and have them be like some stuff that's more adventure of a lifetime, but also stuff that's just more affordable, right? Like, it breaks my heart that it's so expensive to go to Iceland and people would love to see it. But, you know, could we do could we all go camping in Joshua Tree and do a bunch
Yes.
of astrophotography, right? Like that's
Yeah.
not that expensive.
Or just go to like Volcano National Park and
Yeah.
go. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
so many cool places that we could go. And I think we're definitely looking for ways to do this. And honestly, if you donate to Patreon, that allows us to free Susie's time to go
Hmm.
figure these things
Figures
out, to
these
open
things out. Yeah.
opportunities out for all of you.
Noel Rippenthal wants to know if the eclipse would be suitable for the Eddington eclipse experiment.
Yeah, yeah, that experiment
They
was
all
just,
are, right?
yeah, that's yes.
Um,
And there's going to be a couple of planets, I don't remember. It's Mars and one other, I
yeah.
think, that aren't too far from the sun. So if you're out there with a telescope, you can actually look at planets while you're waiting for cool things to happen.
Patrick Sullivan wants to know, how could you use this event to convince a flat earther that the Earth is round and the sun is
I
93
have
million
no
miles away
idea.
in an orbit? Yeah, flat earthers don't listen to evidence.
Mhm.
The one thing to do, of course, is to catch. There's a flight that goes from Buenos Aires to to New Zealand, and it takes like 10 hours. And so, because it follows the Great Circle route,
Yeah.
and it goes like once a week. So just get on that airplane, and then that's all you need to do. Or talk to anyone who has gone on that airplane and go like, did you start in Buenos Aires and did you end up in New Zealand? That is like the best evidence. But there's a great YouTube channel called Cody's Lab, and he does all these great experiments. And one of the ones that he just did, he did two debunkings, which I loved. So the first one was he showed how you can measure the curvature of the Earth with a telescope, which was great. And then the other one that he did was testing out rocket motors in a vacuum chamber, because that's the other thing that the Apollo deniers say is like, rockets don't work in space, but because there's nothing to push against or something ridiculous like that. So, yeah. Oh, you were allergic? Are you talking to? You were
Yeah,
allergic to
so we
sulfur
had
gas?
we had Michael Manner, who was with us on our trip to the end of the world, uh, mentioned that we at one point had been thinking about going to Hawaii to go see the telescopes at Mauna Kea. And for work, I got to go out there a couple of years ago. And I had this horrible realization, and I should have listened. Jake Store of Insight STEM had warned me, if you're allergic to sulfur drugs, you are sometimes like allergic to the air on the Big Island. And yeah, I was allergic to the air. I thought I was getting extremely sick. I was having trouble breathing. I was coughing. My head was, I thought I was getting bronchitis. It was that level of misery.
They
And
call this
I'm allergic to the
VOG.
air.
They call it VOG when it's the
Yeah.
volcano fog.
So that's something that Fraser can do with Paul Matt Sutter, because I like to breathe.
Yeah, I love the Big Island of Hawaii. It's one of my favorite places.
I thought I was going to die.
But yeah, so
we'll
check
go
out,
to like Griffiths Observatory or
but how can you see
Mount
a
Wilson or
actively
something.
erupting volcano?
I
Yeah.
apparently can't.
No, and yet you could watch all of your death unfold.
I know. And I desperately want to go to Iceland, but I keep thinking it has volcanoes.
Sure does.
But I really want to go.
Yeah.
But it has this is my plight.
Yeah.
It's
And
on my bucket
cold.
list.
So cold.
I don't care.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I
My
just like
wife
to
is
breathe.
like, how cold again? Because she just like, not handle cold weather, and so yeah, it's pretty funny. I'm really enjoying the chat right now. Questions, come on. Here we go. Arjun was actually, you know what? Tim, I think wasn't Tim asked a question earlier on about Enceladus. Talking about life on Enceladus. That's right. Yeah. So can you
Yeah.
speak on the oceans of Enceladus? Sure. So
They're awesome.
well, yeah. So the new evidence that came in, of course, is that Cassini has found, as it passed through the plumes that are spewing out of Enceladus, these water plumes, which are from this under ice ocean, that they found hydrogen gas in these plumes, and the hydrogen gas had to be generated because hydrogen will bond very quickly with anything. So some source has to be creating it, and that source is most likely hot rocks at the bottom of the ocean on Enceladus. And when we find those locations here on Earth, that is one of this perfect environment for these extremophile bacteria, and then a whole ecosystem that is connected to it. And the cool thing about that is, like, if the sun disappeared tomorrow, Earth would just keep on going with this. We'd all die, all the plants would die, everything in the oceans would die, except for these areas deep, below the ocean that would go for millions of years still, as the Earth continued to cool down. So the fact that you've got another environment in the solar system that is precisely the same as this place on Earth that is amazing for life and is a completely separate ecosystem is just incredibly exciting. And then they found those same plumes on Europa, and there happened to be one and maybe even two missions on their way to Europa. So bottom line is, it is I think it's the most promising and exciting place to search for life in the solar system, and the missions are in the works to actually go and check them out.
And what's amazing about the Enceladus discovery and Europa's, we need to get better at seeing the plumes. The plumes there are less active. But with the plumes, it means that we can get samples of the water without having to actually pollute the environment. And as anyone who's looked at a sneeze under a microscope knows, germs like to travel in water drops and extremophiles and bacteria and all of these things. And so it could be that these little moons are essentially sneezing out life that we can then go and detect and kill.
Our Instro asks, given they happen all over the solar system, what makes solar eclipses on Earth so remarkable, other than we're here to see them?
Well, on other worlds, it's not an eclipse like what we have. So, for instance, if you are on Mars, you might see Phobos or Deimos pass in front of the sun, but it would be a small speck moving across the sun that would look like a giant sunspot. So, if you watched the Venus transit, it would be that kind of an experience. This ratio of how big the moon is compared to Earth and how close it is creates a unique situation where the sun, unique to us at least, where the sun and the moon have essentially the same size in the sky. And the reason I say essentially is sometimes the moon is a little bit closer, so it's bigger than the sun. Sometimes the moon is a little bit further away and it's smaller than the sun. And this is where we get annular eclipses, where you have a ring left around the moon. But these situations, other worlds don't have moons quite like we do. Now, you will have full eclipses on Pluto from Charon, but the sun isn't quite the same thing there. So while exciting, it's a very, very different experience, more like, oh, different form of night. So it's just this amazing, we can see the sun, we can see the sun in detail. And wow, moon same size, moon eating sun.
Yeah. I mean, right now the Earth is casting a shadow into space from the sun, and you could go to a place out in that shadow where the size of the Earth is exactly the same size as the sun, and then you could maneuver yourself a little bit and you could watch the Earth eat the sun. But the point is that you can just do it, say, from Noel Ruppenthal's apartment in 2024. So just the fact that we can do this from here on Earth is the part that's kind of amazing. So yeah, I mean, these line up all the time. I think it would be great is when we can see multiple transits. Like when we could see, say, Venus and Mercury passing in front of the sun at the same time, or you could be on
that
Jupiter.
Would be so rare.
Yeah, super rare. Like once every, I forget what the number is. It's hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of years. Or you could be on Mars and you could watch Earth, Venus, and Mercury all doing a transit at the same time. Again, like millions of years for that to happen. But it does happen. Ranko Prozo wants to know, will Cassini be able to enter the cloud tops of Saturn before burning up, or will it die as it enters?
I don't know exactly how deep it's going to get in before it ceases to be able to send information back. There's this double lag of record the information, send the information. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong on this, but what I am recalling from a conference where I listened to them talk about the final death dive was they were going to keep sending information as long as they could.
Right. How long? I'm trying to think. So, like, Galileo did the same trick. And it
We
collided.
believe in killing our spacecraft.
Yes, yeah. And so it collided with Jupiter. Now Jupiter has more gravity, has but I'm trying to think of how long did it last? I'm trying to see how long Galileo lasted. It was minutes, right? Like when it got in and it hit that atmosphere, hit the cloud tops, then it's going to burn up. It's going so fast that it's not like it's just going to pass deep down into it and send messages back. It's just going to smash into the atmosphere, just the way we see things hit the atmosphere of the Earth.
And this is something that we will probably do a special broadcast when it happens in the fall, just like we did a special broadcast for the Mars Curiosity lander.
I'm in. Let's do it live.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. There you go. Michael Meyer thinks that Cassini's camera will be switched off during the final dive.
But it has so many other sensors. We are biased by our eyeballs to if it doesn't have images, it doesn't count. But there are so many different instruments on Cassini.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know the details, and we'll need to find them out.
Alexis Desplin is wondering where you buy solar binoculars. Just do a search like Amazon. You can find solar binoculars. A lot of the big providers will sell them. The other thing is, what is it, like Bader Solar?
Bader. Yeah, Bader Planetarium.
Yeah.
So Rainbow Symphony is also one of the big providers. And if you just want regular eclipse glasses, Google and the Moore Foundation have provided literally several million free pairs of just the cardboard eclipse glasses. And lots of people, lots of libraries, lots of astronomy clubs are going to have them to distribute entirely for free. So if you're in my area and you're a school teacher and you need some for your school, let me know. I have some of these that I'll be giving away. Night Sky Network members, get your call in. You can get them from the Astronomical Society of the Pacific. If you're an amateur astronomer in a club and don't know what the Night Sky Network is, shame on you. Go join. You can get things for free and learn and do and coordinate and collaborate. It's all awesome.
Sylvan Westby is asking, we're still trying to find the fastest probe of humanity. Was it Cassini at 109,000 kilometers per hour? Was it Galileo before its death, one of the solar probes?
I don't know.
Yeah, don't know. Paul Gracie is recommending Orion for special filters for common binoculars. So the trick is...
Yeah, they're a distributor. They have many different ones.
Yeah, and the trick is you put the caps over the ends of the binoculars, not the eyepiece part, but the other part.
And it begins with the letter A. It's a photo company that carries a lot of telescope stuff. And they sell all of their Adirondack. Adirondack is another good distributor. They're actually who I got mine from.
OPT, our good friends at Oceanside Photo and Telescope.
And shout out to Oceanside because they didn't have what I needed in stock and worked with Adirondack to get it for me.
Fantastic. Any more questions? Zephen is saying 252,792 kilometers per hour, Helios 2 around the sun.
Dang.
Yeah, that's fast.
Well, if there aren't more questions, I'm going to go slather myself in anti-poison ivy medication and turn into a zombie.
All right, then. Everyone, just remember, if you want to participate in this chat that's going on down here, that is go to the wshcrew.space and you can join that community. And Pamela and I are in there. And if you want to chat with us, that's a good place to do it. We will see you all next week. We don't know what we're going to do next week yet, right?
We will figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Go.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Pamela.
See you
all next week.
Bye-bye.